you've been getting hit up all day long about this new ejection rule.
Yeah.
Why? Did something happen?
Yeah. Don't go there. Don't go there. Do not go there. Stop it.
Why would they ask you that?
I don't know, man. No reason. Pun intended. I was not,
You've never been unsportsmanlike?
Yeah. Never have I ever. Never have I ever.
So, well, let me ask you this. With that new rule now in place now, and obviously we're showing footage of a little brouhaha between you and Odell. Knowing that this rule is in place now, would that have come into your mind at all during that game?
From what I'm being told, this rule didn't affect us.
Really?
Really. I mean, I didn't think that, I think it's 2 personal fouls, correct?
Yes.
Well, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
And
so
it could have. I think we still would have been playing. Am I not mistaken? Am I correct to say that? Or we would have been ejected?
Well, if they had actually called the penalties. So what you're saying is they didn't call them. So
yeah, they didn't call them, so it wouldn't affect us.
I'm saying going forward.
So they wouldn't affect us.
But going forward, is that something you're thinking about, like, oh, man, hey, you know what?
Well,
if I get a penalty now.
Because you play on the line already, right? So now do you put that in the back of your head at all?
Check this out. That game would never happen again.
Why you say that?
That game would never happen again. That was just there, That don't happen at all. So to even go back and even speak on that, it's kind of like that was then, and it's kind of like irrelevant into the future because I feel like everybody who I face or go against, knows the competition level to where we won't, meet at such aggression levels.
Is this rule good for the game?
Is it good for the game? I think the rules that we continue to put in on the game, it's a great saying, if it's not broke, why try to fix it?
Well, there's some that argue that it is broke. With regards to the people suffering injuries after the game, trying to find ways to make it more safe for future people.
Yeah, and I think to Josh's point here, this rule is really only going to affect a couple of guys. And it's only going to come into play a couple of times. The reality is, if you play the game the way it's supposed to, and you play within the rules, you're not going to have an issue with this. You're not going to be subject to it. Lindsay, how many times did this
happen last year? Maybe
it would have been implemented twice last year. Brian Arakpo with the Titans and Jaleel Day with the Chargers.
So it would have happened twice. So again, we're creating a rule for a minority case. This happened twice. It's not something that happens all the time.
Are you creating a rule that's now a deterrent, though?
Well, I think so.
That's what they're hoping.
And I like the rule, but just because, and again, I deal with Pop Warner football, I deal with Little League football, and we have a responsibility on Sundays to play the game right and to not look like a fool on TV. I mean, we do have that responsibility.
Sometimes easier said than done.
It is, and I understand we get into the competition of things, but this game is about controlled aggression. Right. Controlled aggression. You have to know when to turn it on, know when you're being attacked, and know when to respond. And I think sometimes that we have guys on Sundays that we forget that. And we forget that there are young people watching us, emulating us on their football fields on Friday and Saturday nights.
Here's where I think it gets tricky is now if a personal foul is deemed, a play that is a legitimate football play, but it goes too far, and you get a penalty, and then now something happens later on, and now all of a sudden in the fourth quarter of a game, a guy that everybody's counting on could possibly be ejected. I think to dumb it down, what you were saying, Mike, on this should be called the duh rule. Well, duh.
I know you have lots more to say. He's been sitting there with his mouth open for a minute.
All right. Well, I say this. I think the rule is implemented to give the referees more control of the game. I think that's where they're really trying to go towards. Where,
you think the refs already had control?
That's what I said, too. But it's like, okay, well, what other more control you guys can have? Because you already had control of throwing someone out. You already had control of ultimately throwing the penalty on however you see fit. And you have control of, deeming what, lineman or D-lineman, however you see, fit to throw the flag. So regardless of the fact, they just saying that, okay, we don't want this in the game, and this is how we can construct this. Referees, we putting this on your shoulder that you can go ahead and call these calls without it being any kind of problems whatsoever.